Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to another week, and you have found yourself watching another episode of Flashpoint Radio. It is Tuesday, March 19th, 2013, and I am Jay-Z. Thank you for joining me. Well, we're going to be looking a little bit at the global economy, local economies, and the national economy, of course. It's important, and it seems like every time I focus on economic issues, I have more articles than I can count, and today is no exception. There's a lot going on in the markets around the world that might affect you. I do believe that the flashpoint that sets things apart, sets things ablaze, will be economic, at least in this country. I believe it'll start with something else overseas, but things won't get bad here until you see some sort of economic collapse, crash, restructuring of the bond market, something along those lines. But before that, we want to look at the headlines on Drudge Report because, well, the news is coming fast and furious, and this may be a war flashpoint to look for. Claim chemical weapons fly in Syria, people suffocating in streets, air smelts strongly of chlorine. Red line, question mark, meaning the red line that Israel and the United States has put on Syria, that if they cross it, we will intervene. So reports came out days ago that Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu and President Barack Obama will be discussing a preemptive strike on Syria. Could this be the justification for that strike? I don't know. Just keep an eye on that. Also, 7 Marines died in an accident out in the Nevada desert. Pray for the families there. But we're going to get right into the financial markets from Miami Anvil. Not sure really how to say that one. Where have we seen this market before? This is from March 11th. The stock market rally since the beginning of the year is seemingly relentless. Yes, the stock market has been on a boom since the beginning of the year. And, well, they point out that this rush came shortly thereafter the Federal Reserve announcing QE3 or QE Infinity, which is $85 billion pumped into the economy every month. Yes, $85 billion, and the government is bitching and moaning about, what, $80 to $100 billion in sequestration? Get over it. This is a very good article that shows that we are leading ourselves down the same path that we did in 1999 before the dot-com burst and in 2007 before the housing collapse. Let's look at this article from the Dallas Morning News. Dallas Fed chief calls for steps to keep banks from being too big to fail. Yes, I did say Dallas Fed chief. That is the Federal Reserve out of Dallas. And you must know that there are some good people in the Federal Reserve, namely the chief in Kansas City and in Dallas. They see what we're doing. They see what the global banking elite has been doing to the United States and the rest of the globe, and they know it's destined to fail. So the Dallas Fed chief saying, quote, addressing institutional size is vital to maintaining a credible threat of failure. Without fear of failure, these banks and their counterparties can take excessive risks with yours and my money. And not even money, it's more of our labor and our future productivity that they are betting with. Let's jump back to a St. Louis article locally. St. Louis Business Journal out today. St. Louis County reassessment. Property values slide. St. Louis County property values dropped 7% over the last 2 years. Where's that economic recovery that is supposed to be coming? I don't think it's here. It's a great time to buy a home if you can afford those payments and if you plan on staying in that home for more than 5 years. Because there's a good chance if you buy, as my wife and I are in the market for, in the next year, you may be underwater in 2 years when the collapse comes. But if you can afford the payments and you like where you live, still a wonderful time to buy a home. CBS Philly. This is another bellwether for what's coming. Study shows more Americans are raiding 401ks to pay bills. Yes, raiding your retirement funds to pay bills today. That is not a sign of recovery. I don't care what you say. Especially Joe Biden, because he seems to think that we are well on our way out of this one, along with the rest of the administration. And here we go. From Infowars.com via Zero Hedge. Cyprus depositor haircut, bailout turns into saver panic. Frozen assets, bank runs, broken ATMs. Yes, the island nation of Cyprus, well, they got into some financial problems being an offshore bank and holding a lot of money, probably invested in derivatives, and well, the European Union decided that they needed to take a haircut. And not just the government, as we've talked about sovereign debt before, needs to take a haircut. Nope, they're raiding private depositors. Private depositors. They announced this last Friday. Oh, the news that gets announced on Friday. Right when direct deposits went in, they shut the banks down and called a bank holiday. And as Gerald Celente said, bank holiday, we're looking for a holiday. It's no holiday for you. It's so the global elite and the banking elite can steal money from individuals. So that may be the first domino to fall because, as we'll see in a few articles later, it may be spreading. From MarketWatch.com, trading suspended in Cyprus amid bailout woes. So the Cyprus Stock Exchange has been suspended Tuesday and Wednesday and will reopen again Thursday, when the banks will reopen for private people to get their money out. As they did in 1933 in this country, when they call a bank holiday, they don't necessarily have to actually physically steal your money. All they have to do is devalue the currency your money is denominated in. That is a silent way of stealing your efforts, your labor, your productivity. It's happened in this country. It's happening in Cyprus, and it may happen here again. From the Associated Press, Cyprus, crucial vote on saving seizure looms. The Cypriot government was struggling Tuesday to gain parliamentary support for a plan to confiscate a part of people's bank deposits. Wow. They're trying to gain support for a plan to confiscate a part of people's bank deposits. Well, if the people have anything to say about it, I don't think they're going to find that support. And you think, well, they're going to take this just from the rich. This is the EU socialism, right? Well, no. Originally, it was 6.75% for all deposits under 100,000 euros, 10% above 100,000 euros. They recently introduced legislation, I believe yesterday, to exempt deposits under $20,000 from the 6.75 percentage rate, but they don't think that will pass at all. And if you're wondering what 20,000 euros is, that's $25,000. So yes, $25,000 in savings, and you're getting your accounts rated. Sounds like rich people paying their share to me. Infowars.com. Will this spread? Banking chief calls for 15% looting of Italian savings. The International Monetary Fund, and namely Jörg Kramer out of the German Commerzbank, has called for private savings accounts in Italy to be similarly plundered. Well, let's see what happens from here on out, because a precedent has been set, and all of those countries that have gotten a bailout before, your chickens may be coming home to roost, and all those countries that are about to collapse, yeah, there's a new sheriff in town, and it's coming for your bank account. From scoop.co.nz out of New Zealand, national planning, Cyprus-style solution for New Zealand. So yes, our Kiwi friends down in our southern hemisphere in the island nation may be looking at something similar in their very near future. You are not protected from this, even in the United States. Now, I believe the United States will get a bump in our financial markets when Europe begins to collapse, because people will rush to the United States with their investments. But once they figure out that the Ponzi scheme is even bigger in this country, you better bet when they pull their money out, and it will be fast, the collapse will come within, I don't know, weeks, 2 weeks. We'll be facing hyperinflation, possibly. I don't know anything. I'm definitely not an expert. But you need to figure out your finances, because if you can't get your money, how are you going to feed yourself? I have food storage. I'm going to be fine. What about you? 3 final stories, then I'm going to point you to a video with Alex Jones and Gerald Celente. Market Watch, U.S. stocks find reason to fall in Cyprus. U.S. stocks on Monday fell for a second session as Europe's efforts to get a handle on the rescue of Cyprus provided enough uncertainty for a much-anticipated retreat on Wall Street. Yes, the traders were anticipating a retreat in the markets, and, well, bank runs in the European Union and confiscations of private bank accounts, you would think that the retreat would be substantial, but no. In one day, and I believe through today, they're simply down about 0.3%. That is 0.3% since its record highs on Friday. Yes, our Federal Reserve is pumping so much money into this thing that even extreme turmoil in Europe will not rattle these markets. Be wary of your 401k and your stock investments. And finally, a prediction from CNBC: stock rally will end badly this year. Mark Faber. Please read this article. Mark Faber has been correct on so many levels at so many times throughout history, throughout the recent history, calling peaks, calling valleys, calling crashes. He's saying this ain't going to end pretty this year. This year. You need to get your ducks in a row. You need to get your family ready for some kind of drastic change in your lifestyle. Without that, you may be, I don't know, standing in a virtual breadline collecting unemployment, food stamps, WIC, that digital bread lines they put people in that almost 50 million people are in. And finally, please go to Infowars.com and watch this video. Gerald Celente: Cyprus looting is only the beginning for the global elite. This is an interview Alex did with Gerald yesterday. And Gerald is the publisher of the Trends Journal and has been right, as Mark Faber has, on many predictions involving the stock market, the financial institutions, and really society as a whole. It's a very entertaining interview. You will not be disappointed. Check it out. Well, I am out of time, my friends, and I will see you on Thursday with a new episode of Flashpoint Radio. But please, make sure your house is in order. Make sure you know what you're going to do in case you can't get your money out of the bank, you can't buy food at the grocery store. Any of these issues, any of these scenarios, you need to be ready for, and your family needs to be ready too. Being mentally prepared is the first step, and you can help your friends and your family by simply spreading this information, pointing them to Infowars.com, the Trends Journal, any number of small independent media operations that are actually telling the truth. Support your independent media. Support the truth. Support Flashpoint Radio. Stand with me. Be with Alex Jones. Be with the truth. Jay-Z signing off for Flashpoint Radio, saying God bless and keep your eyes to the sky. People will steal from their mother. People will rob their own brother. People can't even walk the streets because they'll never know when the world